Stage 4. Reflection, growth, and prevention. Objective: to review personal progress, solidify healing strategies, and develop proactive steps to prevent re-traumatization and maintain long-term growth. Each step in this stage revisits key concepts and accountability checkpoints from the previous 3 stages to measure growth and ensure lasting change. Step 1. Acknowledging growth. Goal: reflecting on the journey and recognizing personal transformation. Lesson: the importance of self-recognition and celebrating progress. Healing isn't just about overcoming pain, it's about recognizing how far you've come. Many people focus on what still needs improvement, but failing to acknowledge progress can lead to frustration and discouragement. Celebrating even small victories helps reinforce motivation, confidence, and self-worth, reminding you that every step forward matters. How acknowledging growth reinforces positive change. Strengthens new habits. Recognizing progress helps your brain associate healing with success, making it easier to continue positive behaviors. Boosts self-trust. Seeing the changes you've made reminds you of your ability to grow and heal. Encourages consistency. When you acknowledge how far you've come, you're more likely to stay committed to your journey. Review your initial thoughts, fears, and behaviors from Stage 1. Reflection. Questions. 1. What are the biggest changes I've noticed in myself? 2. How has my mindset shifted from the beginning of this course? 3. What was the most challenging part of this journey, and how did I overcome it? Accountability review. Revisit your responses from Stage 1, acknowledgement and accountability. Are you still blaming external factors, or have you taken more accountability? Do you see your role in past situations more clearly? How has your self-awareness evolved? Ways to celebrate your growth. Reflect on past struggles and compare them to where you are now. Write a letter to your past self, acknowledging your strength and progress. Treat yourself to something meaningful, a day off, a small gift, or an experience that brings joy. Share your journey with trusted friends or a journal to reinforce your success. Journal exercise. Acknowledging personal growth. Write about 3 ways you have changed since starting this course. What are 3 ways I've grown throughout this course? How do I feel about the progress I've made? What's one area I still want to improve? Step 2. Understanding trauma with clarity. Goal: reassessing your knowledge of trauma and how it has shaped you. Lesson: how has education about trauma changed your perspective? Recognizing when trauma no longer defines your decisions, one of the biggest signs of healing is when your choices are no longer driven by past pain. Instead of reacting out of fear, self-doubt, or survival mode, you begin making intentional decisions based on self-awareness and confidence. You notice that triggers don't control your emotions as much. You respond to situations thoughtfully rather than reactively. You trust yourself more and feel less stuck in past patterns. This shift shows that your trauma is part of your story, but it no longer controls your future. Reviewing past beliefs versus current understanding. Healing requires challenging old beliefs that were shaped by trauma. Ask yourself, what did I used to believe about myself, relationships, or the world? How have my experiences and self-work reshaped those beliefs? What new, empowering beliefs do I live by now? Reflection. Questions. 1. How do I now view trauma differently than before? 2. What concepts from Stage 2, education and understanding, were most helpful? 3. How has learning about the brain, trauma responses, and cognitive distortions helped me in daily life? Accountability review. Revisit your responses from Stage 2. Are your trauma responses, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, still as dominant? Do you handle memories and triggers differently? How have your thinking patterns evolved? Less catastrophizing, emotional reasoning, etc. Journal exercise. Reviewing trauma. Awareness and understanding. Compare your old trauma mindset to your current one. How has my understanding of trauma changed? What limiting beliefs have I let go of? What wisdom would I share with my past self? Step 3. Measuring behavioral change. Goal: reviewing progress in regulating emotions, making healthier choices, and rebuilding self-trust. Healing isn't just about feeling better, it's about changing the way you think, react, and make decisions. Measuring behavioral change means looking at how well you're regulating emotions, making healthier choices, and rebuilding self-trust compared to when you first started. Are you responding to conflict with more patience? Are you setting boundaries instead of people-pleasing? Have you stopped engaging in self-sabotaging habits? Recognizing these shifts reinforces that your efforts are paying off. Progress isn't always linear, but even small improvements, like pausing before reacting or choosing self-care over avoidance, are proof that you're growing. Regularly reflecting on your behavioral changes helps you stay committed to healing and adjust where needed. Lesson: how has your past trauma-driven behaviors have changed? How are you assessing improvements in self-discipline and emotional regulation? Are you strengthening positive habits to replace old coping mechanisms? Reflection. Questions. 1. Do I still engage in trauma-driven behaviors? If so, how often? 2. How have my emotional regulation skills improved? 3. Have I built self-trust by following through on my commitments? Accountability review. Revisit your responses from Stage 3, behavioral reflection and regulation. Have you reduced self-sabotage? Do you regulate emotions more effectively? Have you upheld the boundaries you set? Journal exercise. Measuring behavioral change. List past behaviors and how they've evolved. What are 3 behaviors I've improved? What behaviors am I still working on? How do I plan to continue my progress? Step 4. Establishing long-term healing strategies. Goal: creating a sustainable plan for ongoing healing and emotional well-being. Healing doesn't end after a breakthrough. It requires consistent effort and intentional habits to maintain progress. Establishing long-term healing strategies means developing a sustainable plan that supports your emotional well-being in the future. This includes identifying healthy coping mechanisms, maintaining self-awareness, and continuing practices like journaling, therapy, mindfulness, or setting boundaries. Life will always present challenges, but having a toolkit of strategies ensures that you can handle difficulties without falling back into old patterns. Long-term healing is about adapting, staying proactive, and prioritizing your emotional health so you can continue growing and thriving. Lesson: healing is an ongoing journey, not a destination. The importance of consistency in emotional regulation and self-care. Identifying support systems and coping mechanisms that work. Reflection. Questions. 1. What tools from this course will I continue using long-term? 2. How do I ensure I don't fall back into old patterns? 3. What boundaries, habits, or practices need reinforcement? Accountability review. List the top 3 tools that have been most effective for you. Set a personal goal for continued healing beyond this course. Exercise. Long-term healing strategies. Create a personalized healing checklist. What tools and practices will I continue using? How can I stay consistent in my healing? What's one new habit I want to maintain for life? Step 5. Preventing re-traumatization. Goal: developing strategies to avoid repeating harmful cycles. Healing isn't just about recovering from the past, it's also about protecting yourself from repeating harmful cycles. Preventing re-traumatization means recognizing red flags in people, situations, and environments that could trigger old wounds or create new trauma. This requires setting firm boundaries, trusting your instincts, and not ignoring warning signs. It also means breaking patterns, whether it's choosing healthier relationships, responding to stress in new ways, or letting go of toxic environments. Learning from past experiences empowers you to make choices that align with your healing, ensuring that you move forward without falling into familiar, painful cycles. Lesson: how to recognize warning signs of unhealthy relationships, environments, and behaviors. Practicing self-advocacy and making empowered choices. Learning to say no and prioritize mental health. Reflection. Questions. 1. Have I learned to recognize toxic patterns before they escalate? 2. What are my non-negotiable boundaries for protecting my mental health? 3. How will I handle future challenges without falling into old trauma responses? Accountability review. Identify one proactive measure to prevent falling back into trauma cycles. Create a red flag list for personal awareness. Journal exercise. Preventing re-traumatization. Identify potential relapse triggers and strategies to avoid them. What are my warning signs for emotional distress? How can I protect myself from toxic influences? What's my action plan if I start slipping into old patterns? Step 6. Strengthening resilience and confidence. Goal: embracing personal power and trusting yourself moving forward. True healing is not just about overcoming trauma, it's about emerging stronger, more self-assured, and resilient. Strengthening resilience means developing the ability to face challenges without being overwhelmed, learning from setbacks instead of feeling defeated. Confidence grows as you trust yourself more, make empowered decisions, and stand firm in your boundaries. This step is about embracing your personal power, recognizing that you are no longer controlled by the past but are actively shaping your future. By continuing to practice self-awareness, self-care, and emotional regulation, you build an unshakable foundation that allows you to move forward with clarity, courage, and self-trust. Lesson: how overcoming trauma builds inner strength. The difference between surviving and thriving. Embracing self-worth and confidence. Reflection. Questions. 1. Do I feel more in control of my life? Why or why not? 2. How do I now define my self-worth outside of past experiences? 3. What does thriving look like for me? Accountability. Review. Reflect on how your confidence and self-trust have changed. Write down one bold goal that represents your new, empowered mindset. Journal exercise. Strengthening resilience and confidence. Write a mission statement about who you are becoming. What's one moment where I proved my strength? How do I remind myself that I am capable of healing? What affirmation can I use to reinforce my confidence? Step 7. Embracing the future goal. Letting go of the past and stepping into a new chapter. Healing is not about erasing the past, but about releasing its hold on your present and future. Embracing the future means fully stepping into the new version of yourself, one that is no longer defined by pain, fear, or past experiences. This step is about letting go, not by forgetting, but by no longer carrying the weight of old wounds. It's a commitment to living with purpose, creating healthy relationships, and trusting yourself as you move forward. You are no longer just surviving, you are thriving, growing, and building a future that reflects your strength and resilience. Lesson: you are no longer defined by your trauma. How to continue evolving and growing beyond this course. The power of gratitude and hope. Reflection. Questions. 1. What does my life look like moving forward? 2. What am I grateful for in my healing journey? 3. How will I celebrate my progress and continue improving? Final accountability review. Write a letter to your past self, reflecting on your transformation. Commit to one final promise for your future self. Journal exercise, moving forward with clarity and purpose. Set 3 long-term goals aligned with healing and growth. How has this journey changed my view of myself? What's one major life goal I want to achieve? How will I take everything I've learned and apply it moving forward? Final reflection and celebration. Acknowledge the hard work you've done. Review personal growth from stage 1 to now. Recognize that healing is ongoing, but you now have the tools to move forward with strength and clarity. By the end of this stage, you will have a clear understanding of your personal growth, a concrete plan to maintain healing, and the confidence to move forward without trauma controlling your life. Complete these exercises before moving to the bonus stage.